Math Module 7, Lesson 2, and this is day 1 of Lesson 7.2. Today we are discussing applying ratios and rates with variables. And so this is really our first touch on algebraic reasoning. We are going to deal with variables in our proportions. So this brings us to our 2 vocabulary words for today. You're going to hear me say these words over and over and over again. Our first vocabulary word is proportion. A proportion is an equation that states that 2 ratios or rates are equivalent, and they're going to be written in fraction form. Our next vocabulary word is variables. Variable or variables are symbols, or in this case, letters like X, Y, N. Okay, you'll see variables like that for a number that we don't know yet. So it's a missing number. We use a variable and then we solve for that variable. So go ahead and pause the video, get your essential question written down and these 2 vocabulary words. And then we have 2 focus problems again today for our notes. They are both word problems. All right, so you should have your vocabulary words written down. And let me show you our first focus problem, our example 1. And yes, it is a word problem. It's a little bit long, but just bear with me. Sheldon and Leonard are partners in business. Sheldon makes $2 in profit for every $5 that Leonard makes. If together they make a profit of $28 on the first item they sell, how much profit does Sheldon make? So keeping in mind that our final answer will have a dollar sign in it because we're trying to find how much profit. Okay, let's look at step 1, and that's going to be writing a proportion. So here we go. So going back to our vocabulary word, a proportion is an equation that states that 2 ratios or rates are equivalent in fraction form. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to, write in fraction form Sheldon's profit which was measured in dollars. So I'm just going to put my dollar symbol there, over total profit. So I can look at this almost like part over whole. In between my proportion, I will always have an equal sign because my definition says that this is an equation. The word equation means there's an equal sign in there. Now over here, I'm going to have the 2 boys together, their total profit, which is also measured in dollars. It's money we're talking about. I need to find how much profit in dollars Sheldon made over here. So I'm going to use a missing number, which I'm going to call X, my variable. I don't know the answer to that yet. So now I need to go back to my problem and see if I can find the numbers that I need to put in to this format. So let's look. What can I put for Sheldon's profit? Going back to reread our problem. Sheldon and Leonard are business partners. Sheldon makes $2 in profit. Wow. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to put a 2 on the top for my proportion. Now on the bottom of that fraction, I need to figure out the total profit. So here, I'm going to continue reading my problem. For every $5 that Leonard makes. So I need to take my 2 from Sheldon and add it to the 5 from Leonard. So I'm going to show what I'm doing here. 5 plus 2 equals 7. So that's where I'm getting my bottom number. my 7 from? I'm going to keep my equal sign in the middle because this is an equation. My missing number I still don't know, so that's remaining as an x, a variable. And now I'm looking for my total profit, so let me continue reading the problem. If together they make a profit of $28 together, so there's where I need to plug in my 28. This is how you set up your proportion. This right here, 2 over 7 equals x over 28, is your proportion. So please go ahead and label that as I did so you have it in your notes to reference later. Now let's look at how we solve for a missing number x. We are going to use a tool called cross multiplication. And this method is great for you to learn now so that when we get to our later algebraic reasoning modules, you will already know how to do this. We are going to cross multiply. And we're going to do that by literally going across. We are going to multiply 28 times 2. What does 28 times 2 equal? 56. Now on the other side of my equal sign, I'm bringing that equal sign down. I need to do 7 times x. Now 7 times x gives me 7x. That one's super easy. So whatever number you have times the variable, you just put the variable right next to the number as I did here. This is showing 7 times x. Okay, so now I have finished my fraction form and I have put it in this form. The next step is I need to get x by itself, get x alone. Let's write that down. And when I get x by itself, I'm going to divide by the number next to the x. So the number sitting next to the x is a 7 in this case. So let's write that on our step. All right, now I'm going to show my division. So I'm dividing by the number next to the x, which is a 7. Now, why am I doing that? I want to get x by itself. And so I need to divide by the number next to the x so that I can get this to cancel out. Because 7 divided by 7 is 1. So on this side of my equal sign, I'm just left with an x. Now, whatever we do to one side of the equal sign, we have to do it to the other. So let's add that to our step. Do the same to the other side. So over here, I'm going to divide 56 divided by 7, which gives me 8. So my final answer is x equals 8. And I could write it this way, or I could write it the more proper way, which is coming with the x first. And the only reason why I'm writing it this way is because in English, we read right to left. So I'm saying x equals 8, and I have my dollar sign. So the answer to our original problem asking us, how much profit does Sheldon make? Sheldon makes $8 profit. We've solved for our variable. All right, let's look at another problem. Here we go. Here's our problem. The distance Allie runs in 40 minutes is 3 miles. At this rate, how far can she run in 60 minutes? Okay, so again, we have distance, 3 miles, and we have time here, 40 minutes. We also have 60 minutes for time. So let's look at how we would set this up as a proportion. So we're going to do time over distance. And so let's take a look. We're going to take our 40 minutes, which is our time, over our distance, which she did 3 miles in 40 minutes. Put our equal sign in the middle, and now we have 60 minutes over our missing number. How many miles can she do in 60 minutes? Now notice how I had my time, my minutes were always my numerator. I had to stay consistent with that. So my denominator, my answer for my x, I'm going to be writing in miles because I have miles as my denominator here. I have to do the same over here. So here I go. I'm going to set up my problem now so I can solve. 40 over 3 equals 60 over x. Okay, let's go through those steps again. Step 1, cross multiply both sides. 3 times 60 equals 180. Your equal sign stays in the middle. Now we do 40 times x, which gives us 40x. Now we need to get x by itself. So in order to do that, we're dividing by the number next to the x. We want to get that to cancel out, so we only have x. X is by itself. Whatever we do to one side of our equal sign, we have to do to the other. So we're going to do 180 divided by 40. And our final answer is 4.5, or you can write it in fraction form, 4.5. And our label, looking back at the top, our label, miles, x has to be miles. So if we wanted to write this out in a full and complete sentence, we could say, in 60 minutes, Allie runs 4.5 miles. Okay, here are 2 practice problems for you to work on. 3 over 5 equals x over 30. And 4 over 10 equals 5 over x. So go ahead and use cross multiplication, then get x by itself by dividing by the number next to the x, and see if you can solve those 2 problems. This one is a little bit more challenging than the first one. All right, thanks for watching Go Math with Miss Janke. This was Module 7, Lesson 2, Day 1.